Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the special event, the Sustainable Lake Management or SLM Forum, titled Promoting SLM, Co-Creating a Better Future. My name is Rika Okaji from the ILEC Secretariat. We would like to extend our heartfelt appreciation not only to those of you here in Japan, Lake Biwa, but also to the many online participants joining us from across the globe. The forum part one is an international panel discussion titled Are Lakes Sustainable? We will invite 8 panelists from different fields, such as government, academia, and business on their activities contributing sustainable lake management. Then we will move on to a panel discussion. To officially open the discussion, I would like to invite Dr. Kazuhiko Takemoto, President of the International Lake Environment Committee Foundation, ILEC, to deliver the opening remarks. Please welcome Dr. Takemoto.
Thank you, Rika, for your kind introduction. On behalf of the International Lake Environment Committee Foundation, ILEC, I am delighted to welcome you all to this International Forum on Sustainable Lake Management, SLM. Lakes are an important source of fresh water, a foundation for rich biodiversity, flood and drought management function, and an important resource of cultural benefits. However, lakes face serious threats from rapid urbanization, industrialization, agricultural activities, and other impacts such as climate change. In order to address these issues, it is required to further develop international cooperation in an urgent manner. Following the UNEA 5 resolution on sustainable lake management in 2022, we have found international attention on sustainable lake management growing in an accelerated manner. In this regard, the international community has required its further collaboration actions, including, number one, development of policy and measures to address climate change and water quality in an integrated manner. Secondly, collaboration toward the establishment of the World Lake Day, which has been already discussed in the international community in the urgent manner. Thirdly, further enhance the collaboration among stakeholders, such as scientists, policymakers, and other civil society groups, in particular, younger generations. Today, we are organizing this forum by inviting experts from around the world to discuss these challenges toward a sustainable future. I hope that today's forum will be able to contribute to the discussions during the forthcoming 20th World Lake Conference in Australia, which is taking place next year. Now, finally, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to conclude my opening remarks by wishing you a fruitful and constructive discussions through your active participation today. Thank you, and once again, welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Takemoto. Now let me introduce wonderful panelists of today from 6 countries. Please show the panelist list slide, please. Ah, okay. Thank you. And from Indonesia, Ms. Inge Retnowati, Director of Inland Waters and Mangrove Rehabilitation, Ministry of Environment and Forestry. From Japan, Rie Kudo, Deputy Director, Office of Environmental Management of Coastal Seas, Environmental Management Bureau, Ministry of the Environment, Japan. Mr. Naoya Yamamoto, Director, Lake Biwa Conservation and Restoration Division, Shiga Prefecture. From Mexico, Dr. Sergio Antonio Silva, Honorific Professor, University of Guanajuato, and Visiting Professor, Soka University. University of Guanajuato from Mexico, and a Visiting Professor, Soka University. And from Australia, Dr. David Hamilton, Professor, Australian Rivers Institute, Griffith University. From Kenya, Mr. Patrick Mai, Program Management Officer, Early Warning and Assessment Division, UNEP. And Ms. Megumi Kodama, Executive Officer, Tania Company Limited from Japan. And the Chair of ILEC Scientific Committee, Dr. Walter Rust from the USA. At the beginning of today's program, Dr. Masahisa Nakamura, the facilitator of the panel discussion, will explain the background and objectives of this panel discussion. Dr. Nakamura, please welcome Dr. Nakamura, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for introducing me. While we are waiting for the PowerPoint to be up, I would like to welcome you, and let me spend just a few minutes how this panel discussion is going to take place. You have the program, and these 8 people will make presentations, but after the panel presentations, we will have actual panel discussion. Depending on how much we have time, we would like to have 3 rounds of questions. And the first round, we have a question. The specific challenges and measurable progress in sustainable lake management. The second round would be collaborative efforts and effective strategy in lake management. And the third round would be to draft the future perspective and global commitments. I'll gradually lead to it. But before getting into the panel presentations and panel discussion, I need to give you a brief background and what is going on globally on this particular subject. And just very quickly, in March 2022, for the first time in the UN system, the resolution directed to the lakes were adopted. And it's shortened as a Sustainable Lake Management Resolution. And it requests member states numbers of things: ensure the sustainable use of lakes, integrate lakes in development plans to take into account local and other concerns, and to involve all stakeholders, including gender concerns and age concerns and others. Fifth one, is very relevant to our organization, ILEC. This ILEC is very much scientific oriented science policy linkage. We have 15 scientific committee members working on the subject intensely. And now we are facing to move into this SLM and the next subject that I'll briefly mention. in just a few minutes, and international networking that is taking place right now. The UNEP, SLM requests UNEP, and we're working with UNEP to advance SLM at all levels, which is going on just a few years since it was adopted. We are on the way to expand this advancement of SLM to all levels to facilitate collaborations, international agency collaboration, international governments collaboration, and all the sectors of the society to collaborate to advance the mainstreaming of SLM, mainstreaming in policies, international agenda, and other mainstreaming needs. Following that, in March 23, we had UN Water that resulted as the chairman's dialogue results on a number of items, but among them on item 11, there's a lengthy statement there, but the designation of World Lake Day is recommended at UN, New York in 23. So advancement of this SLM through the symbolic designation of World Lake Day now came to the stage at the international debates, national governments, and so on. That is currently going on. It's a very exciting process, but what it relates to is very important, and that's the subject of discussion today too. It's not just lakes, what comes into the lake, come out of the lake, all the way to the ocean. So it's not just the lakes, but what lakes can be affected by, and what lakes actually affects the remaining parts of the system, including the oceans. So World Lake Day is much broader in concern, although SLM is a very much central subject. And one of the very specific subjects that they relate to is disaster risk reduction. So obviously, it means that there's a linkage between flowing water and impounded water, and how that surrounding parts and downstream be affected. So these are things that we also have to be very much aware of. In the 10th World Water Forum, just this year, that was reiterated. And among the ministerial declaration at the World Water Forum, May this year, 5th among the 16 ministerial declaration items, the proposing the World Lake Day. So it was reinforced, New York, and Bali, and then we have this statement that I meant about the source to the sea, very much a concern now that World Lake Day is a broader subject of lakes being related to other parts. And for example, this has been going on for quite some years, but SIWI, Swedish Institute, Water Institute, Stockholm International Water Institute was already mentioning this, and it's shortened as S2S platform. And this what I was talking about. So in sum, we are talking about a very broad subject area. And today's forum not only are we going to talk about these broad subject areas of the lake and other components of the water system, but also today we're talking about many sectors involved, governments, international agencies, but even within the individual lake, river, coastal basin, the stakeholder groups, institutions, universities, generations. We have the young generations and the remaining important components of the society. So today we'll be discussing this mainly on SLM, but what SLM means, sustainability means, what lakes means, as already alluded to, and the management. What is management? So SLM, to all of us, is very much a concern, and that's very much the subject of today's discussions, promoting SLM, co-creating a better future. So with that, I would like to return my microphone to Rika about getting this speakers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, so now let me invite the first speaker, Ms. Inge Letonwati. Ms. Inge, are you there? Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you.
Yeah, please,
Yeah.
please start your presentation. Thank you. And could you share your presentation on your side?
Speakers, participants, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning, very good afternoon to all of you. Very good evening also for some participants from other countries. Very nice to be here. It's an honor for me to be here. Can you hear my voice?
Yes. Maybe you're breathing. Okay, okay, now I can hear you probably. Sorry, Inge-san. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, so first, thank you to invite us to share in this session, in this international panel discussion. I'm Inga from Indonesia to share about how Indonesia take the lake government, lake management in Indonesia, and the idea for taking these important things to be aware, to be concerned by all stakeholders or relevant stakeholders. I start from our lake sustainable. Why is this happening? Why is this critical? What do we need to do based on Indonesia experiences and program? One lake. This picture is very famous picture for us. Work in lake and other relevant inland waters. That only 1% of the Earth's water in Earth is surface water, and from the surface water, 87% is lakes. And we also have some facts and figures to show that how important the water, how important the lakes. As a unique ecosystem, the lake is diverse, rich, and has a high value. But it in the hearts, cultures, and daily lives of the people surrounding as an interconnected system from their water sources to their endpoints, facing degradation due to human impact and natural phenomena. I would like to highlight these things, that what is happening in lake, not only because of natural phenomena, but most of them are because of human impact. Everything in the catchment will impact into the lake, and in the lake for the body, everything will impact everything. The world's largest lakes are sinking dramatically from a journal. Satellites reveal widespread decline in global lake. Sorry. in global lake, this water storage, and why we need to take concern to the lake. The government and management for lakes needs to care the lakes with pay attention to the characteristics of the lake, the services provided, its condition and trends, needs of raising awareness about the importance of lake, needs of social efforts, for the next generation, education and support for sustainable lake management, needs of a global reminder on the importance of lakes, the ecosystem degradation in some part of the world, and the urgency of enhancing performance of sustainable management of lake in an integrated efforts among parties, and needs of financial support. Based on Indonesia experiences, we try to formulate the governance, scientific-based management, and empirical recommendations for the lake ecosystem. We see at this matrix, there are at least 4 aspects need to be concerned. The leadership, the ecosystem-based approach, the landscape-based approach, and the community-based approach. So based from this matrix and from Indonesia experiences, we can see that landscape-based approach is important, but it is not enough. We need to take care of the lake also based on community-based approach. By community-based approach, through ecosystem-based approach, and of course, leadership is very important. And from this graph, we can see that from Indonesia experience, we try to start to govern to manage the lake first based on the lake ecosystem health condition. So we need to have indicators to know the lake ecosystem health condition. Then from that, we need to monitor and assess the condition. Is it degraded? Is it still okay? Or is it threatened? And from that, we need to do some technical handling, such as pollution control, waste management, erosion control, and others. And based on the need technical handling, we need to enhance awareness, education, capacity building, lessons learning, best practices, not only to rehabilitate or restore the lake condition, but also to preserve the lake from threatened from other impact from surrounding of the lakes. And from that, we try to develop integrated area development, community-based environmentally friendly business, collaboration among parties, because we understand, because we are aware that activities, business, human activities surrounding in the catchment, in the lakes, need to be environmentally friendly to reduce impact to the lakes. And from that, we try to develop appropriate governance for handling the lakes. And this year, we try to develop specific activities, a specific project on lake entitled Lake Restoration in Indonesia through integrated governance, landscape, and community-based approaches, with the objective to generate biodiversity, sustainability of freshwater ecosystem, climate change mitigation, and livelihood improvement through mainstreaming integrated approaches for management, restoration, and governance of lake ecosystem in Indonesia. We have 3 components. The first one is strengthening the enabling environment for integrated lake ecosystem management and governance. So the component 1 is for the governance, and component 2 for technical intervention at the field level, entitled Demonstrating Multiple Environmental and Social Benefits through Implementation of Integrated Lake Ecosystem Management. And component 3 is knowledge management and learning. To enhance community awareness and knowledge, contribution, and collaboration among stakeholders on lake ecosystem management and restoration. The strategic intervention at the activities is development of integrated and innovative eco-ecotourism agroforestry. We start from an agroforestry at the catchment area of the lake to control erosion and pollution to the lake. Because we are aware in many areas in Indonesia, catchment area is important, giving impact to the lake because the activities and environmental activities, human activities at the catchment area and also at the water body. We need to do that in an integrated approach with social engagement, not only physical, technical, and or biophysical intervention, but also socio-economic engagement. Also by enhancing village institutional capacity and involvement of the community into lake monitoring and evaluation. And we also will do other field activities such as water quality monitoring, development of community-based activities, and also some minor civil engineering and infrastructure and clean up and revitalization. At this slide, we can see that we need to do not only at the rehabilitation stage, but also at the prevention, monitoring, and evaluation stage. Landscape improvement become important thing for rehabilitating or reducing impact to the lake in Indonesia situation. And we believe that based on the landscape improvement must give benefits, not only ecological benefits, but also hopefully it can give socio-economic benefits. In the ecological side, can build a green belt of lake ecosystem, enhance water recharge, infiltration area, runoff and erosion control. It also has a habitat for biodiversity and microclimate control. And at the socioeconomic benefits, we hope we can have tourism enhancement, education, and income generating for the community surrounding. We hope we all can also have something like in Lake Biwa or Lake Kasumigara in Japan. Would like to have Indonesia Lake Environment Center and Indonesia Lake Environment Database. So we also make efforts to enhance stakeholders' awareness by developing this kind of environmental center and database of the lake. And this is now about World Lake. This effort is to raise public awareness because what is happened in the lake is because of public human activities, because of impact from surrounding of the lakes. So it needs to enhance raise public awareness and build a sense of urgency on lakes and sustainable management. By by designating an internationally recognized date for commemorating lakes as part of the global agenda. The World Lake Day will act as a reminder for constant promotion of sustainable lake management agenda at the local, national, regional, as well as international level. World Lake Day aims to support the implementation of UN resolution on sustainable lake management and contribute to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals and other global agendas such as Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. World Lake Day complements the UN Water Day, adopted through resolution, highlighting the unique characteristics and roles of lakes that distinguishes it from other bodies of water. The World Lake Day encourages actions and partnerships in sustainable lake management through capacity building and other. In addition to raising awareness of various stakeholders, hopefully it can take advantage of the World Lake Day to encourage actions to tackle issues related to lakes. Aims to inspire more concrete activities through dissemination and education on the primary role of lakes and its valuable contribution to the people's livelihood and preservation of nature. So it is hopefully the World Lake Day not only for celebrating a day, celebrating the lakes, make activities at the day, but it's more for a reminder all of us to reduce impact to the lake, to have environmentally friendly activities, so the lake condition can be rehabilitated or restored. Indonesia undertake unwavering commitment to promote cooperation on the protection, conservation, and restoration of lakes, as well as the advancement of sustainable lake management in the context of 2030 agenda. And at the Chamber for the Forum provides an excellent platform and opportunity for gathering support for the World Lake Day initiative in the UN General Assembly process. Accordingly, Indonesia proposed that World Lake Day be observed on 27 August. As one initiative at the ministerial declaration of the 10th World Water Forum, to be proceeded at the 27th session of the UN General Assembly. For that, Indonesia seeks support of participating countries for the Lake Day initiative. And 4 days ago, we just have a side event at the 79th session of the UN General Assembly on sustainable lake management, enhancing commitment of some prominent stakeholders to together raise the importance of concern to the lake through the World Lake Day just 4 days ago. This I can share. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Inge-san. Please stay there for the panel discussion later and the comments made in the panel discussion. Okay. Okay, so let me invite the next speaker, Ms. Rie Kudo from the Ministry of the Environment, Japan.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear my voice clearly?
Could you turn your volume up a little bit more?
Okay. How about this? Is that okay? Or
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much.
okay, thank you. So, good morning, everyone again. And I'm Rie Kudo, working for the Ministry of the Environment. I'd like to briefly introduce sustainable lake management in Japan. In Japan, under Act on Special Measures Concerning Conservation of Lake Water Quality, we designated 11 lakes where the environmental standards for water pollutants need to be urgently achieved, and we have developed the Lake Water Quality Conservation Plan. The plan includes pollution road control from the lake basin, forest management, and conservation of lakeside vegetation and aquatic lives. Under the plan, various stakeholders, such as related local governments, river administrators, and NPOs, have built consensus and taken measures collaboratively. As a result of these measures, pollution load has decreased steadily. However, achievement rate of the environmental standard in lakes remains low compared to the achievement rate in rivers and seas. In addition, recently we have faced emerging challenges such as material saturation, overgrowth of phytoplankton, and decrease in dissolved oxygens, which are related to climate change. Considering the impact of climate change, it is important to protect aquatic resources as well as water quality integrated manner by promoting material circulation. So Shiga Prefecture is a pioneer in Japan to conduct research and address such issues in Lake Biwa, and the Ministry of the Environment also support such activities. And also, we need to develop a new evaluation indicators for the healthiness and material cycle of lakes, in addition to the water quality indicators. Furthermore, We revised the environmental basic plan in this May and set the goal of environmental policy, which is realizing well-being of present and future of the people. In this context, we have promoted not only water quality improvement, but also creation of favorable water cycle and water environment. In order to realize well-being of residents and promoting regional revitalization, we have implemented model project for conservation and sustainable use from forest and river to town and seas, while utilizing OECM, which also contributes to goals of 30 by 30. So that's all my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kudo. Please join the panel discussion later. Okay, so let me introduce the next presenter, Mr. Naoya Yamamoto from Shiga Prefecture, Japan.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Naoya Yamamoto. On behalf of the Shiga Prefecture government, it is my pleasure to be here today to share our experience with Lake Biwa and express our support for World Lake Day. So my presentation consists of 4 parts. Firstly, I will provide some general information about Lake Biwa. Secondly, I'll share some insights into our localized SDGs known as the Mother Lake Goals. Thirdly, I would like to discuss why World Lake Day is necessary. In closing, I will give you some key takeaways. So first, introduction. So here is general information about Shiga Prefecture and Lake Biwa. Lake Biwa supplies water for 14.5 million people, including not only Shiga, but also major cities such as Kyoto and Osaka. So as you can see, Lake Biwa's ecosystem is complex. One factor affects the others and vice versa. Therefore, a comprehensive approach is crucial for sustainable lake management. So second, as one of the comprehensive approaches within a policy framework, let me touch on the Mother Lake Goals. The Mother Lake Goals, or the MLGs, are common goals for the conservation of Lake Biwa to be achieved by 2030. Simply put, the MLGs are localized SDGs. The MLGs serve as a bridge between the SDGs and individual actions, allowing us to contribute their achievement through a bottom-up approach. In a way, the MLGs embody the famous slogan, think globally, act locally. As you can see, the MLGs have 13 goals. Shiga's citizens were involved in the formulation process via social media, workshops, discussions, and other methods. These 13 goals are relatable to residents and are intended to inspire concrete action toward protecting Lake Biwa. Third, I would like to address why World Lake Day is necessary. So basically, the more waste we create, the more deteriorated the lake environment becomes. Based on the lessons learned from our past struggles, we must say Lake Biwa is a mirror that reflects our way of life. In this regard, we already have a symbolic day to raise public awareness and work together to conserve Lake Biwa, which is Lake Biwa Day. I believe Lake Biwa Day can be an example preceding World Lake Day. So we are still unsure about the mechanism, but Lake Beaver has shown signs of change affected by climate change. In a sense, Lake Beaver is a window to see the global environment. To tackle global challenges emerging upon lakes, we need a symbolic day to unite people and raise international awareness about the need to take further action. That's why we believe World Lake Day is necessary. So let me summarize my presentation. Today's key takeaways are 5 points. First, Lake Beaver is a crucial water source for over 14 million people. Second, Lake Beaver's ecosystem is composed of interrelated factors. Therefore, a comprehensive approach is crucial. Third, as a comprehensive approach, the MLGs encompass Lake Beaver's diverse functions and issues. Fourth, Lake Beaver is a mirror that reflects our way of life, and Lake Beaver Day is a symbolic day for citizens to work together. Finally, Lake Beaver is a window to see the global environment. World Lake Day is necessary to unite people and raise public awareness about the need for further action. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yamamoto. The next speaker will be Dr. Sergio Antonio Silva from Guanajuato University, Mexico. The floor is yours.
Okay, good morning. Actually, some slides are not so good, but I want to mention that I'm very happy that with this forum, especially because in this first slide, we can see that the question is whether lakes are sustainable or not. Sustainability is a topic that has been around for many years, but in the for practical purposes, where are the boundaries? What is really implementable and what is just an aspirational? And also, I want to mention that also another topic is that lakes are connected to another water systems, rivers, creeks, coastal areas. And also, I want to mention that this topic, considering lentic and lotic systems, is also in I remember many World Lake Conference where we had been talking about this way of considering the management of water resources as lentic and lotic systems. And also, I am really happy because we are talking finally about governance. For many years, we had been working with water resources management, but maybe at the end of the day, the problem is not technical alone, or maybe it's not about quantity or quality of water. Many times the problem is based on governance of water resources. So I want to just take a look. If we revisit the declarations of the World Lake Conference, we can see that in the Austin Declaration in year 2011, we were talking about this, the fact that the hydrologic linkage between lotic and lentic water systems. So this was the first time we were talking about this system, a new way of management the water resources. And also in the 15, in the Perugia Declaration, again, the linkage between lakes, aquatic systems that drain into and out of them. So we again revisit the concept of dynamic and static water systems. And in the 16th conference, the Bali Declaration, they were talking again about the ILBM converted into ILLBM, Integrated Lentic Lotic Basin Management. And also in the 17th Lake Conference in the Baraki Kasumigaura, they were talking about this transfusion, this I can say feedback between integrated water resources management, integrated river basin management, and integrated lake basin management. Because we were aware that the solution of the water resources management problems was not by one framework or one approach alone. Also, in the conference of Guanajuato in 2021, we were talking about this interlinked water system comprising lakes, rivers, coastal basins. So we again look for the necessity of collaboration between the framework of integrated water resources management, river basin management, and ILBM. And finally, in the last year World Lake Conference, again, we were talking about not only lentic and lotic system, we were talking about sustainability of lake management, but this include the governance of lakes and lentic lotic systems. So as we can see, we had been talking about these topics for many years. And in the case of Mexico, there is also another complexity. When we are talking about sometimes the same element, but the definition could be different. There is still confusions about what is basin, what is subbasin, what is watershed, what is a catchment. So we need finally make for practical purposes. In Mexico, we say basin, the largest catchment area. Then we go to subbasins or watersheds. So in this case, I just want to make clear because we have the Lerma, Chapala, Santiago basin, lakes, and this lotic system or interconnected system. For example, the Lerma River and the Santiago River, if we put together, because they are linked through the Chapala Lake, the largest lake of Mexico, they run about more than 1,200 kilometers. So it's really long river. The name is not important because it could be Lerma and Lerma and Lerma, or Santiago, Santiago. It's like here, the Zeta River and the Yodo River. So the name is, but the important thing is that they are interconnected. But this interconnection makes the basin becomes larger. We are talking about the more than 120,000 square kilometers catchment area. So the problems are complex. Management and governance of this basin is complex. But we can see is the single line diagram. We can see the springs, dams, lakes, lagoons, rivers, creeks. So it's complex when we are talking about lentic lotic system. However, I want to mention that we have, I don't know what's going with the presentation, but we use the base of the ILBM to try to manage this complexity system. We use the 6 pillars of ILBM, but we addition what we call the hardware, because basically 6 pillars need to be take into account the consideration of stakeholders or those people who have an interest on the water resources management. So we developed a model for basins, and we can see that around the whole process of management, there is the stakeholders' participation to achieve governance. Stakeholders not only means users of water, means everyone who has interest on water resources management. And then we developed this for basins, but because of the size and complexity of the basin, we divided the basin in smaller units, watersheds. So we developed a model of participation that we call, also is well-known, watershed concepts. So the idea here is that we involve federal, state, and local government and also the civil society, water users, all society in extents like NPOs, NGOs. But previously, the important thing is that we make sure that we have the legal, administrative, the procedures, and all the instruments needed to manage the water and to make possible the participation of the stakeholders. Otherwise, the participation will be, weak. And the main goal is just manage in an integrated way the water resources in the watershed. So these watershed councils have also another component. There should be a stakeholders group. The stakeholders group is only a component of the watershed council, but in the stakeholders group, we can find that there is people with different background, different needs, different considerations about water. So they need to create have a special structure to participate in the watershed council. Keeping this in mind, we established and divided the group. This is just a core structure. Yes, not all the members of the stakeholders are in the council, but there is representation of each stakeholders group in the council. But I just want to point out that when we have a big problem like large basins, we divided them in watershed councils at basin levels that could be just not the main river, a tributary of these rivers, or a creek that comes to this main river, and this will be the watershed councils organization located at this watershed level. So the catchment area now is a watershed, not the basin at all, but we develop what we call a network of watershed councils to manage the water resources when we have lentic, lotic, or interconnected system, because the need of each watershed could be different. What waters means for the northern part to the south, but we must be aware that what we do upstreams impact and reflects downstreams. So that is why need to be this network of watershed council for the management of interconnected systems of lentic and lotic waters. So we can, I don't know, okay, yes, so the slide shows some problems we find and what we want to solve in different watersheds in the whole basin. But this is the idea. At the end of the day, I'm really happy because there are a lot of young people. No, this is also transgenerational. We can see Lake Vigua has been working on this, trying to the restoration, to manage sustainable management of Lake Vigua for, I don't know, more than 30, 40 years. So it's needed the younger generation, because to overcome lakes management problems needs of transgenerational solutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sergio Antonio Silva. Okay, and the next, let me invite the online speaker, Dr. David Hamilton from Australia. David, are you there?
Yes, thank you.
The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome everybody. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. And will you do that?
Yeah. Could you please?
Share my screen.
Not yet.
Sorry, would you like me to share my screen?
Could you share? Shall we share screen here?
Mhm.
By the way, you have the nice background. Very beautiful view.
Just while we wait, this is Lake Mackenzie. It's one of the clearest lakes in the world, and they say it is the most photographed lake in the world. It's on an offshore island close to Brisbane, so a very beautiful place. I hope people might be able to come and visit it when we hold the World Lake Conference, WLC 20, in July next year.
Could you change the screen? Okay, so now, David,
Thank you very much.
we can see your slide.
So thank you for the invitation to speak at the Sustainable Lake Management Forum. My name's David Hamilton, and I'm based at the Australian Rivers Institute at Griffith University in Queensland. And as I mentioned, we'll be hosting in Brisbane the World Lake Conference, the 20th World Lake Conference next year in 2025. Next slide. First of all, I want to acknowledge the Indigenous people of the land where I am from, in Brisbane. These are the Yugara and Turrbal people, and I especially acknowledge their sustainable management of the land and water ecosystems over tens of thousands of years, and the lessons that we can take from elevating their role in governance and management and practices associated with inland waters. Next slide. So we have a major challenge, and that is to be able to manage our catchment sustainably, because lakes reflect what happens in their catchments. And these changes are going to require quite a radical change, from governance to planning to specific management actions. This change needs to occur to bring about nature positive actions. And it needs to occur at the level of governance and governments, to corporations, to communities, and to individuals. And put quite simply, we cannot carry on the current trajectory in many of our catchments where they are being managed unsustainably, leading to unhealthy catchments, and our management actions have to be able to change and be modified very substantially. Next slide. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the impact of raising awareness about lakes. And again, we have another challenge here, and that is that we have some existing structures at national and international level, but we need to connect up all pieces of the jigsaw and empower our researchers and our managers and our decision makers to have real influence on the decisions that are made. And so I'm just giving you 3 examples of some of the connected societies and networks that exist. The one on the left-hand side is the Global Lake Ecological Observatory Network. And GLEON, as it's known, has been very successful in raising the profile of lakes for researchers. And it's done this through mostly high-frequency sensor measurements. It's a global group, but it hasn't necessarily connected with some of the wider communities, especially those that are managing lakes. In the middle, I've given an example of LEARNS, the Lake Ecosystem Restoration New Zealand group, a national scale lake research group that has been successfully integrating sensor and remote sensing technologies into lake restoration and working with communities and decision makers to be able to bring about change to lakes in New Zealand. And of course, at a global scale, there is ILEC, and ILEC combines many of these aspects, including the research, the governance, and the decision-making around lakes, and being able to develop that international profile is extremely important for the current status of lakes and raising awareness about them. Next slide. So, education and support for sustainable lake management. I think we need to communicate some of the key messages. Lakes as sentinels for humanity. The condition of our lakes will reflect what we're doing in their catchments and the way that humans are interacting with the environment. Lakes are also a sentinel for climate change, and many of our lakes are changing quite rapidly now. They've gone through a phase of eutrophication and now are being subject to rapid climate change and the impacts that that brings about on water quality and quantity. And finally, lakes as indicators for their catchments. And here, of course, we're looking at the way in which we can use key health indicators, not just to indicate what happens in the lakes, but to reflect that back to the catchments, the communities, the managers and the decision makers in terms of their actions for those catchments. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. We'll get back to you later. Thank you very much. Okay, let me invite the next speaker, Mr. Patrick Mai from Nairobi, UNEP. Patrick, are you there? Thank you. The floor is yours.
And thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure all the time. I mean, always from UNEP side to be invited to such a forums. I would like to briefly just share what we at UNEP are doing, the efforts that we're making since the resolution was passed. Then also share a few of the things that we're doing, what are our future aspects. Can you please share the screen, please, so that I can you share my presentation? Or I could also share it from my side. Are you able to share my screen?
Are you sharing on your end?
Oh, good.
We cannot see the slide, or shall we share screen on our side?
Okay, let me share from my side also.
Okay, okay.
Here, I can
Please.
share from my side.
Yes, now I can see your slides. Thank you.
All right, let me put it in the sharing mode. Okay, so I just like to speak briefly on these three areas: our current efforts, future perspectives, and emerging challenges. It's not showing. Trying to scroll down, but it's okay. There it is now. So our current efforts are along the lines identified under the UNEP's three planetary areas or crisis. We have the pollution, then we have the biodiversity loss, and then also the climate change aspect. So in this area, we are looking at lakes in the context of what is affecting lakes. We recognize that lakes are being polluted mostly from the basin itself, from the ecosystem around it, what humans do, and a lot of nitrogen nutrients are being brought into the lakes by human activities through the rivers, through channels, and also through runoff. And these are bound to form dead zones all over in quite a number of lakes. We also have issues of invasive species, plant species and animal species that have been noted around the globe that are affecting lakes. We're also looking at lakes in terms of the biodiversity loss, what happens in the catchment, and also how we're affecting the nature globally. There are quite a number of examples around the world, but just an example like Lake Trojan, where we have the different approaches that have been put into place to try and resolve some of the problems that are happening there. UNEP also works very closely with the Conventional Wetlands of International Importance, that's RAMSA. We have been involved in their activities, in their meetings also, trying to find solutions globally on what's happening. Discussions also on are also going on with other partners so that we can see how to collaborate and share the knowledge or generate knowledge around lakes and their management around the world. For example, we are very much closely working with the International Lakes Environment Committee Foundation, ILEC. We also participate in the World Water Week, where our World Water Quality Alliance brings side events to share what we are doing at UNEP. Then also we have efforts to reduce pressures on biodiversity and ecosystem services that we are carrying out in different parts of the world. We have ongoing, or we have had projects with countries, especially in Kenya. We have had interactions around lakes. Then we're also trying to promote nature-based solutions. And then now the other current issue that is climate change. We're trying to adopt to climate change, can help countries to adopt to climate change that is impacting on lakes. So based on this, we came up with a white paper that touches specifically on lakes. Please go to the next slide. Yeah, in this, we have actions to accelerate sustainable lake management. One of the actions is building capacity in monitoring and assessment. I'd like to speak a little bit more here because this is now one of our major areas of focus. We have put up some trainings for online trainings on capacity building. We're carrying out monitoring of lakes through projects like the James Water and also the area of assessment. There is an ongoing development. We are working on what we call a One UN Geospatial Situation Room rollout, which is a way of collecting all data that we can, and now we need to bring up or develop a database that is now specifically focused on lakes. Previously, we have had others focused on rivers, but lakes is a special one, and we need now, we are working on developing this. Also working on some projects that are both local and also global that will also generate a lot of information that we can put as layers to inform governments on what is happening. And then we have number 2, embedded lake management in national policies, which we also encouraging, and then also fostering green finance and partnerships. This is an area that we find that we need to, as UN, to encourage countries to actually put aside some green finance resources that can help lakes, because we find that other areas, other rivers and others have got finance, enough finances around, but we need to encourage pooling of finance for nature approaches. Then also there is the issue of raising global awareness on the benefits of change, what's happening, especially the global change. I would encourage that later on I could pass it on that we look at what we have designed in the, what we have put together in the white paper to try and put up as our vision of what we see that we can do together globally that will go towards sustaining lakes. Next slide, please. Now we look at the challenges. There are many challenges. As we have put in the white paper, we of course see quite a number of impacts that have been described there. Some of them are very common. We have got algal blooms right around the world in quite a number of lakes. We have dead zones that are affecting not only lakes, but the effect of what happens internally also goes towards affecting the sea. That is how we are linking up from the source to the sea. And then I would like to mention specifically among all the other emerging challenges, we have seen that engineered nanomaterials and microplastic pollution is one of the areas that may need focus going forward because we don't have, I would say, global solutions that can deal with microplastics, especially microplastics pollution, which is beginning to increase with the use of plastics all over the world. So this is one of the areas that we find a challenge, and I would like just to mention briefly in the time I have that this is some of the areas that we are looking at very closely within the organization. To the last slide, please. In summary, I'd like to say that the large-scale degradation of catchment is one of the biggest threats that we see, threatening lakes, societal and economic value, leading to significant loss and damage to both ecosystems, which also, when we talk about ecosystems, we include people. The challenge now is to restore, how are we going to restore the degraded lakes globally from the nutrient pollution, from agriculture, from domestic wastewater, which we also find that it is a very big problem, especially for those cities and towns that are based at the waterfront of lakes, and then also the industrial waste, which is very complex, the discharges that go into lakes. And then we have the issue of invasive species. If you look within many parts of the world, especially I would like to mention the water hyacinth. Water hyacinth has invaded quite a number of lakes in Africa, and we have come to agree that it's part of the ecosystem now, but how do we manage it so that it does not decrease the products and also the services that lakes provide is one of the main challenges that we have to deal with. And another one is the climate change. Climate change has come in very strongly, and with climate change, we're having to deal with lake levels going down or the disappearance of some lakes as time goes. So we need to also think how are we going to deal with this in a more comprehensive manner. And then also the SDG 6 implementation that is now entering the third phase, 2023 to 2026. The emerging challenges to support countries to collect and prerequisite data while also increasing the use of this data to generate information so that we can link science to policy and also link it with investment decisions. So to attain sustainable lakes, we all have to put our actions, our innovations together, which would help us at least to attain a good level of sustainability to most lakes that we can globally. We do not look at the idea, the issue of sustainability as a small issue, but it's going to be an increasingly demanding area that we need our action. Thank you very much. This is a little that I would like to share with the time that we have.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Please stay there for the discussion. And let me invite the next speaker, Ms. Megumi Kodama, from Taniya Coal Company Limited, Japan.
はい。はい、皆さん、こんにちは。日本語でやらせていただきます。今日は、このような皆さんから学ばせていただく機会をいただきましてありがとうございます。私は、経済界と企業という立ち位置で今日、呼んでいただきましたので、私たちの取り組みを紹介させていただきます。私たちは琵琶湖のある、滋賀県でお菓子屋さんをしております。デパートですとか、滋賀県内のお店、大体全国で48店舗を運営しておりまして、お菓子を作ったり販売したりというような仕事が本業になります。今見ていただいてますのは、私たちのフラッグシップ、ラッコリーナ近江八幡という店舗になります。琵琶湖につながる内湖のほとりでですね、商いをしています。今日は私たちの取り組みを少しご紹介させていただきます。私たちのパーパスは自然に学ぶというテーマです。自然を活用して、生きてきた時代がありましたけれども、私たちはその自然を使うというよりも感謝し、自然を先生として敬い、自然から多くを学ぶということをテーマにしています。私たちのグループには、お菓子の原材料を調達するための部門ではなくて、農業生産法人を持っているんですけれども、昔ながらの景色であったりですとか、農業であったりを未来へつなげる活動、人とのつながりだったりですとか文化っていうのを保全する取り組みを行う、農業生産法人のキャンディーファームという会社を持っています。このキャンディーファームではですね、大学であったりですとか研究機関、そして地元の団体の方々と実証実験などの活動を実施しています。ですが、私たちお菓子屋さんですので、実証だったり研究っていうのはとても難しい深い分野が大事だということは分かってるんですけれども、一般のお客様、お菓子を求めていただくお客様に分かりやすく、サステナブルビジョンであったりですとか、そういった表現も楽しくというところをモットーに取り組み内容も、より五感を使ったり、体験をしたりということを中心に優しく進めております。ここはですね、私たちのフラッグシップでありますラコリーナの上から見た写真と、そして、絵になります。私たちの中心ですね、ここには、日本の懐かしい景色と言われる田んぼ、お米を作る田んぼがお店の中心にあります。私たちはそのお菓子の原材料がお米、田んぼでできるということで、一番本来でしたらお店の中で、重要な場所だと思うんですけれども、そこをあえて、田んぼの景色にしています。この田んぼをですね、お客様がこう歩いてご覧になるときに、やはり田んぼというのは勝手には実りませんので、自然の恵みであったりですとか、いろんなものを季節、四季、折々変わっていく景色というのを見ていただくことを大切にしています。この田んぼはですね、私たちのスタッフであったりですとか、地元の学生さん、そしてお客様と一緒に、ここでですね、秋の実りの収穫を楽しむということをテーマにしています。同じくここでは生産者の方、作ってくださる方々のご苦労も一緒に学ぶようなことをしています。21世紀の課題は、水、食のエネルギーなど、楽観視できない状況ですが、地球規模の課題をですね、まずは知ることが大切で、そのきっかけ作りをしたいというふうに考えています。ですので、私たちはですね、この田んぼであったり、この周りの環境を使って、様々なワークショップであったりとか、イベントを地域の方、そして企業、そしていろいろな方を つなぎながら、課題解決に向けた多様なネットワークっていうところを重要視して、そのプラットフォームになるべく、いろんな活動を進めています。ちょうど、田んぼの活動をしているようなところでして、本当、子どもさんから、企業の方から、いろんな有名な方、たくさんの方が来て、みんなで一緒に作るということをやっています。水の話をしますと、一例ですけれども、琵琶湖での活動ですが、琵琶湖岸には、吉、水の浄化作用のある吉の群生が、かつてはたくさんありました。今はですね、その吉がですね、出口として使われなくなった、以前は建材であったりですとか、屋根だったりとか、いろんなところに活用されていましたが、今はもうほぼほぼ使われないということで、その吉がですね、保全がされない、または開発によってですね、道路ができたり、いろんなことでですね、吉の群生が失われつつあります。生き物の住処がなくなって、そして、吉野産業も衰退しているような状況があります。吉はですね、非常に炭素固定するということでも、多様性の分野でもとても優秀なんですけれども、今荒れていてですね、なかなか、手が入らないような、そんな状況になっています。で、私たちはですね、毎年、ここを吉狩りをしてですね、で、非常に多くの方々にこの吉の重要性であったり、古来の吉の使い道が難しいのであれば、新たな視点でこの吉を循環できないかというような取り組みもしています。ラコリーナ近江八幡には、約330万人以上の方が毎年来られますけれども、こういった吉を見ていただいて、そしていろいろな気づきをお客様にしていただきたいなというふうに思っています。はい。で、吉狩りの模様ですけれども、このように、琵琶湖の周りには昔懐かしいこういった景色があったんですけれども、こういったこともなかなか見られなくなりましたので、こういった景色を見ていただいたり、あとは、長年続いていたお祭りなども、保全をするということで、この吉を使ったりですとか、琵琶湖の周りにあるものを使って保全をしながら文化を守るというようなことも実施しています。吉狩りには毎年100人ぐらいの方が、ご参加いただいてます。ここからはですね、私が所属する、経済団体での取り組みをご紹介します。今、滋賀経済同友会という経済団体に所属しているんですけれども、先ほど、滋賀県の山本様がお話しいただきましたが、滋賀県が推奨している MLGs、琵琶湖版の SDGs ですけれども、その行動をですね、私たち経済界としてもしっかり取り組んでいこうということで、私たちが今何をすべきかを考える部会というのを作り活動しています。ここではですね、今2年目になるんですけれども、まず1年目は知るということから始めて、水や胡椒を持続可能にし、地域で良い循環を作っていくためにはどうしたらいいかということを考える1年を、去年やらせていただきました。今年はですね、IREC も提唱されています。インドネシアの方も先ほどご発表いただきましたが、我々も経済界として世界胡椒デーの制定に、参加をし、そして関わっていきたいと。そして制定されたら私たちもしっかりと行動していく。ということを軸に置いた、キックオフイベントというのを企画しまして、で、胡椒のテーマで世界とつながり行動を起こすきっかけを作りたいということで、この夏にですね、7月の末に、オンラインでイベントを開催しました。これはですね、地球環境の、温暖化への対応であったり、生物多様性の保全、また新たな水源の価値創造、水質の改善、未来志向の技術革新、胡椒の重要性、国際機関の連携など、 本当に様々な課題はあるんですけれども、まずそういったことをビジネスの中に入れていくということがとても大事だというふうに思っており、そういったことを知るきっかけのプラットフォームを作っています。経済団体においては、まだまだ、ネットワーク作りから始めているところですけれども、まずはですね、経営者が、強いリーダーシップを持って、故障の持続可能性、故障だけではないんですけど、その領域であったりの持続可能性を知り、そして発信することが大切だと思っています。私からの発表は以上です。このような機会をいただき、今日はありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。Thank you very much. Okay, so the next panelist, Dr. Walter Rust, will speak later in a discussion. Now let us move on to the panel discussion. I'll hand the microphone over to Dr. Nakamura.
Thank you, Rika. Thank you very much for all these extremely interesting and wide-ranging subject presentations. We wanted to have much more time for panel discussion, but due to time constraints, I'll just pick and choose some additional remarks or maybe exchanges among the panelists. The subject area that I would like to draw particular attention, the first of all is the challenges and the progress to be measured. And I would like to direct the follow-up exchange with Ms. Kudo of Japan's Ministry of Environment. Could you tell us a little bit more about the rather disappointing rate of improvement of water quality for lakes in Japan, despite the fact that we have, as you mentioned, been working very hard as compared to rivers achievements of environmental quality standard 93%, the seas, embayments, and so on, 78.6%, and the lakes, 50%, very far of the achievements goals have been attained. Do you have any new, you already mentioned some of the new initiative, but can you provide us the ministry's strategy to enhance this achievement over next years to make sure that the attainment would be much more respectable? That's one. Secondly, what are some of the reasons why lakes do not fare with other bodies of water? If you could just give us, without even using the PowerPoint, because everybody probably remembers the PowerPoint presentation you made. So you can verbally tell us what you think are the challenges and how you would like to address this, the ministry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. So we have made efforts to reduce the pollution load for long years, but unfortunately, so the environment, the standard, the achievement rate remains low. So we think so now that it is important to not only water quality but also biodiversity. So by focusing so the nutrient cycle, material cycle, entire the basin of the lake. So to tackle the issues, so we think the enhancing cooperation among various stakeholders, including local governments, private companies, and scientists and the students are also essential. And also, so we need to share the vision or goals of what is the sustainable management of the lakes. So, and also we are still finding solutions to implement the quality of the water of the lake and the healthiness of the lake. So we need to conduct the study and research continuously to find out how we can improve the environment of lakes, what measures are effectiveness, and what kind of impact can be caused by climate change. So yeah, that's very difficult issues for us, but still to make change, yeah, try to solve these issues. Thanks.
Thank you very much. It really addresses the fundamental challenges of sustainable lake management. I think what she is saying, is that we really, on the one hand, wants to attain this sort of sustainability target of, let's say, 100%. But sometimes lakes are so challenging. Once you get the situation set in, to reverse the trend is enormous requirements. And so the sustainability in that sense may be sustained effort, but you never maybe in globally, Japan is, if the cases like that, the globally achieving the sustainability goal, like SDG 2030, it's enormous challenge, and beyond SDG, continuously over decades and in many cases over in centuries, sustained effort is very important, as I said, and efforts globally and other international initiatives and individual efforts would have to be accelerated, collaborated, and as she mentioned, the research, scientific exploration to address some of the very difficult issues of ecosystems restoration has to be continued and widened, and meaning that we probably are talking about education, research, capacity development, the inter-agency collaboration, and many of the things that we are trying to do will have to be expanded, and it probably is true outside Japan as well. Thank you very much, Ms. Kudo. Dr. Silva, you mentioned about this water councils, and you were mentioning this, the networking of watershed councils might be one of the possibilities to address this source to the sea wide range of impacts being introduced by the users and the system itself, the nature, in such a way that the lemon San Diego is facing an enormous amount of challenge. But apart from the Watershed Council networking, what are you think are possible additional sort of enhancement of effort that might contribute and probably resonate well with Watershed Council networking?
Thank you. I think that we have maybe facing two big problems. First, not only the planning, also the management of interconnected systems is really complex. And we consider that when we are trying to manage huge or large ecosystems, we should work under different uncertainty conditions. The first and most important might be the scientific uncertainty. We don't know everything about ecosystems, and also we are limited about our knowledge about these communities. In addition to that, we have also uncertainty about the information, data. We should be aware that the information with that information that we use to plan and management the water resources may be not so real because we didn't collect all the information. We must trust on those who collect, analyze, and present the results of that information. And also, we are immersed in a society where policies also change. So there is also uncertainty on policies. So this is the first challenge we have. We must be aware that we are working with under uncertainty conditions. And also another one is capacity building. Building capacity for the management of interconnected water system is difficult. So that's why we base the management of these interconnected systems on the will of the stakeholders to make this synergy that provoke good impacts on the environment, on the ecosystems and these lentic and lotic systems. But we should consider that changing the mindset of planners and managers is difficult. For dozens of years, we have been working with integrated river basin framework that is working along with lotic systems. But when we try to include lentic systems as part of the management, they get frustrated. So capacity building is another challenge to make possible that that a network of watershed council works for the sake of the interconnected systems. That's my response.
Thank you very much. We definitely would like to see monitor what the Chapala San Diego Basin is going to be like over the next decades. 次、ちょっと日本語で、質問したいんですけども、児玉さんです。非常にユニークなですね、取り組みをご紹介していただいて、多分今回参加された海外の方々も、もっと知りたいなというふうに思われると思うんですよね。で、種屋さん、自身の、哲学っていうかですね、考え方は非常に、びっくりするようにですね、幅広いし深いもんだと思うんで、この取り組みに、触発されて、いろんな方々の取り組みも発展していくということが一つあってですね、先ほどちょっとご紹介していただきましたけども、滋賀、経済同友会ですよね。 そういうところで、連携してですね、取り組もうとしているということで、その、滋賀経済同友会の取り組みについてもう少しちょっとですね、どういう形で、組織が成り立っていて、で、どういう方向で、こう、方針が決められて、いくのか。で、それが、今後ですね、例えば ILEC だとか、国際的な、今回の、メンバーのようなところと、交流したり、あるいは相互に握手したりっていう機会が生まれると非常にいいなと思うんですけども、その2点ですね。一つは、滋賀経済同友会の活動についてもう少しお話しいただければと。2つ目は国際的にこういう活動の、展開っていうのをですね、我々期待してるんですけども、その辺について何かお考えあったらということで、よろしくお願いします。
はい、ありがとうございます。まず、滋賀経済同友会の取り組みということですけれども、もともと滋賀県の企業は琵琶湖がありますので、環境先進権と私たちは自分たちのことを言ってるんですけれども、意識は高い方だと自負はしておりました。ただしかし、実際に、企業の中で優先すべきが、本当にビジネスの中核に琵琶湖の環境保全であったりとか、そういうのがしっかりと入っているかというと、まだまだだなというふうに感じていました。ですので、まずは、私たち今やっている取り組みのベースの考え方として、古書であったりとか水っていうところが持続可能ではないということを基本として理解する必要があるかなというふうに思っています。おかげさまで毎日水を見ながら生活をしている琵琶湖が近くにあるということですから、本当に他国に比べてとても豊かな恩恵をいただいていると、思いますが、一方では、それをですね、どうやって枯渇資源をつないでいくかっていうようなことを、会社として、仕組みとして考えられているかというと、そこはまだまだだなというふうに思っています。そこで、滋賀経済同友会という、会員の企業が400名ほどありますので、400名いましたら、そこには従業員、そして従業員の家族、結局いろんなことを未来につなげていくのは、やはり私たちがどう行動するかということになりますので、その400名のバックにある従業員や家族というものすごいネットワークを使ってですね、そしてこの琵琶湖を含めた世界の水の持続可能性についてしっかりと考えると。そして、経営者がビジネスの中核に、強いメッセージを出してですね、ステークホルダーに発信し、そして新たな仕組み、これまでとは違う、仕組みを作っていくということをやらなければいけないということを考えるような場でを続けていくというふうに思ってます。同友会の活動というのは提言をするということですので、行政の方々にですね、経済界としてこうしたいんですという決意表明を毎年やらせていただいてますが、この琵琶湖であったりですとか、古書の持続可能性の活動っていうのは、1年きりのイベントではありませんので、あえて、提言はせずにですね、やり続けていくというようなことをやっています。そして、具体的には、じゃあどういうことが大事なのかっていうのは、5つほど、行動する、指針というのを作ってまして、その1つ目がですね、広域な関係者を巻き込んだ取り組みを強化しようと。2つ目は、参加しやすい環境を作って、そして体験聞くとか、そういうことだけではなくて、実体験を通じて、古書、水について学んでいこうと。3つ目は ですね、琵琶湖だけの視点ではなくて、地球規模での事象をしっかり捉え、それでいても琵琶湖特有の活動だったりとか、文化だったりとか、そういったことを大事にしようと。で、4つ目が、外部の人と積極的につながって連携しようと。で、5つ目が、皆さんが議論されている通り、教育プログラムを通じて、若い世代の方々と一緒にですね、どうしても我々若い方々に教えようとか、そういうスタイルになるんですけど、そうではなくて、若い方々と一緒に理解や関心を深めようというような5つを、行動指針としまして、活動をしているというところです。
ありがとうございました。次にですね、ちょっと、課題を、変えますけども、この連携という部分で、ちょっと山本さんにお伺いしたいんですけど、MLG の、取り組みというのは非常に、今、知られつつありますし、先ほどの児玉さんの滋賀経済同友会でも、そういう部分に関心を持ってやってると。ただ、滋賀県全体、あるいは滋賀県以外の地域でも、こういう取り組みを、進めていくことは、望ましいとは思うんですが、そうは言いつつも、なかなかこれも、大変なことじゃないかなと思うんですけども、現時点でですね、どういう課題があって、で、どういう、戦略といいますかですね、方針で、この MLG の取り組みを広げていこうというふうに考えておられるのか、ちょっとお願いいたします。
まず、MLGs のですね、すいません。はい。MLGs の特徴なんですが、これは、滋賀県の、計画というか目標ではなくて、MLGs の推進委員会というものの、ゴールであるというところがあります。で、これはですね、例えば企業であるとか、研究機関であるとか、あるいは県庁も入っておりますが、様々な方々、様々なステークホルダーがですね、加わっているというところに特徴があります。ということで、まずはその琵琶湖についての現状を共有するということについてはですね、そういったことを、役割を果たしていると、そういった場であるということが言われております。で、もうご存知の通りというか、琵琶湖自体がですね、常に変化をしているということがありますので、我々の対応も変化していかないといけないということで、これはILEC がいつも提唱していらっしゃるILBM とも通じる話なんですが、故障の管理というのは、プロセスであって、プロダクトではないということで、常に変わっていかないといけない。ということで、これがやはりMLGs の一つの大きなキーポイントではないかなと思います。ということで、そういったことをですね、やっていくにあたりまして、やはり緩やかにつながるということで、サステナブルな、故障管理をしていくというところが、マザーレイクの、できることでありますし、たちまちの、課題といたしましては、まずは、より多くの方にですね、MLGs を知っていただくということが必要かなというふうに思います。以上です。
ありがとうございました。MLG には、枠組みを作っていく段階から、多数の市民の方に参加して、いただいて、いるわけで、そういう意味ではオーナーシップっていうんですかね、の考えが、反映されているということに、なるかと思います。ちょっとじゃあ英語の方に変わります。The Ingesan from Indonesia. It was a very comprehensive plan that you have, and you are also making very significant progress. We had 2016 was the World Lake Conference in Bali. Since then, a lot of things happened, and ILAC Indonesian government collaboration has been very successful. Also, you are involved in Japan, JICA, Shiga Prefecture, Lake Biwa collaboration framework. But one of the things that I was quite interested in was the fact that you mentioned at one time the local residents would not be inclined to focus on lake water quality conservation or environmental enhancement unless it's somehow related to economic issues of their livelihood. Many of the people living around the lake need to conduct their daily productive activities, and of course, what they can get out of being part of the conservation activities has to bring return for them economically. And have you seen any interesting initiatives going on in that direction? That's one thing. And secondly is by listening to other presentations here, even this Shiga Economic Association, the efforts on industries being very much part of the collaboration framework. Have you maybe gotten some idea that you may want to expand on? So two things. Initially, what is going on in that area, the economic gain to the local opinion. Secondly, what possibility you would like to explore for addressing this particular issue in Indonesia?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, as you just mentioned, Dr. Nakamura, for Indonesia situation, the condition of the lakes is mostly impacted mostly because of activities at the catchment area and at the water body, because of the activities from human, not only local community, but also other parties such as business entrepreneur. For that, first, we do two different approaches. For the business or entrepreneurs, we do law enforcement. But for the local community, we need to work with them. We need to work in a good situation, in a good collaboration with the local community. Maybe they don't know, maybe they know, but the important thing is enhance their awareness, enhance their capacity to do the activities more environmentally friendly. So therefore, in our new project, we try to have a more community-based approach. So we will work in a group of community in just for 3 lakes. For them, we will develop their, we will have a good communication with them, enhancing awareness about the importance of the lakes, enhancing awareness how to know the condition of the lakes, how to measure that the lake is still good or in a bad condition. How make they know how to involve in the monitoring of the lake condition. So we will enhance their capacity to join with us to monitor the condition of the lakes, not only the quality but also the sedimentation level of the lake. We will enhance their awareness on how the agricultural activities will impact to the erosion, will impact to the sedimentation, will give impact to the silting of the lake, something like that. And we will enhance their capacity on what kind of, for instance, agricultural, environmentally friendly agriculture at the catchment area, how to do with the agriculture. So we will work in a group of community in a community level. Will enhance their capacity. Also, the capacity for institutionalizing the works. So they will share their works to take care of the agroforestry, something like that, to take care of the waste, to take care of the monitoring, to enhance potential economic value of their agroforestry. So they will have a benefit socioeconomic also beside their activities to save the ecological condition. So the summarize of that is work with them in a group or in a community-based level. I'm interested in the presentation from Japan, from one speaker, that they enhance community capacity on to have a product, environmentally friendly product, enhance their capacity for that. So but the product also, we will ensure that the product also environmentally friendly impact to the lakes, like that. And for that, we hope we can develop a good community concern to the lake. And we will enhance also not only community awareness, but also government awareness, that they have to attend, they have to consent to these efforts. So please support the community for the best agriculture, for market for their products, something like that, to promote their product, to enhance the performance of their work, the work of the community, something like that. So yeah, it will work from the community level. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We hope to be able to continue to interact with the Indonesian government and also learn a lot from what you're doing. The next, I would like to ask Dr. David Hamilton. We look forward to the next World Lake Conference in Brisbane, and your emphasis on education and research in this particular field, lake management and the sustainable lake management, and maybe river, lake, ocean linkages. A lot of achievement you have made in Australia, New Zealand. We hope to have an opportunity to firsthand learn in association, in connection with the World Lake Conference. But what we would like to find out about your plan on this education and research, about some of the things that we have been discussing today, how the government, local government, national government, and the communities collaborate, interchange, governance improvement, and other aspects that not necessarily are natural science related, but more or less related to social science or humanistic science research and involvement of the students' education. If you have some thoughts in connection with the planning of the Brisbane World Lake Conference, would you just inform us what might be explorable in terms of these people gathering to listen to this particular forum, to be also attracted to attend, to, on the one hand, learn, but at the same time, exchange and collaborate on broader sense, regional collaboration, international collaboration, global cooperation, starting from the Brisbane efforts and Australian and New Zealand experience in that field. If you have any thoughts on that, I'll be very happy to. No, I think a lot of people will be very attracted to attend the Brisbane World Lake Conference.
Thank you, Masahisa. And I'd like to just mention two things. One of them that I'm sure you will be hearing about if you come to Brisbane. In 2023, the Australian government implemented the Nature Repair Bill. And the Nature Repair Bill sets the scene for a nature repair market. That nature repair market will happen in 2025. And it's what we're thinking as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be able to establish markets around nature-positive actions. And so this is an amazing opportunity for us in lake restoration and more widely in catchment restoration, because it actually establishes incentives for communities, for governments, and for corporations and private investment in nature repair. And so the major thing here is to be able to bring about a partnership between government and private industry to generate the market, to support the market that will ultimately bring about nature repair and nature positive solutions. It's also going to mean a real step change in lake management as well. The other thing that I'll just mention briefly is around capacity and capability development. And we talk about a T-shaped water professional. The T shape being that the vertical part of the letter T is the in-depth study. And we often do that as part of our normal university training. But the bar, the horizontal part of the bar across the T, is about having the breadth to be able to link across various aspects of socioeconomics, the science that we do. And in that regard, there are two very quickly emerging areas. One of them is in technology and AI. And so people with capability in data science and in AI and in technology will be able to help us enormously, I believe, in the future of lake management. And the other aspect is around building and learning from and building capacity in Indigenous people and traditional knowledge. And as I mentioned in my talk, that traditional knowledge is something that can provide us with some of the sustainable solutions that we especially need under the emerging pressures of climate change. So thank you for the opportunity, and I'll hand back to Masahisa.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I take it that your organizing committee actually is openly inviting these, for example, the different groups or social fabric, including these economic, commercial enterprises that we heard of. It's probably the open invitation from Indonesia, SLM, and many of these Southeast Asian Japan to have an opportunity to exchange with the experience that you just mentioned, or the ongoing initiative taking place in Brisbane in Australia. And the second subject you mentioned, T-shaped human resources development, is a great way to communicate with the future generations of expertise, not just in specific subject in depth, but a broad range of subject area spanning natural science, humanistic science, and social science, which I don't think we have been a very good job, making a good job of developing a syllabus and so on. So we look forward to the Brisbane to have these opportunities to discuss as well as demonstrate what we can do and we can explore. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to conclude this panel discussion. I have two sort of summarizing impressions. I would like Dr. Walter Russ to also represent UNEP because we have been closely working with Dr. Patrick May. That I like UNEP point of view, how you saw this panel discussion, and how we would like to take many of the lessons to move to the next step. That's one. Secondly, I'd like to ask the director of ILEC Foundation, Dr. Takahashi, to sort of make a broad summary of the efforts we have had in a great range of presentation discussions. First, Dr. Rust.
Thank you very much. And given our time constraints, I'm going to be very brief, and I'm going to give you my impressions of some of the important things, because I've learned it's quite dangerous to stand in front of hungry people right before lunchtime. There are many things have been said, and I was going to give a talk on why we need to mainstream lakes into the global water agenda, but all of you have nicely made presentations, which I thought were excellent reasons already that we need to mainstream lakes into the global water agenda. So I'm going to give you some things, not particularly one is more important than the other or in any particular order. In terms of the stuff we've been doing, I have the honor of chairing the ILEC Scientific Committee, and we are working closely with UNEP now to basically update the ILBM approach that we have been using. This was the genesis for it. We call it the Green Report. And we're now trying to conceptualize it into a broader perspective that emphasizes something that many of you mentioned throughout this discussion, was linkages. And we're not just talking about hydrologic linkages. We've got socioeconomic linkages, cultural linkages, financial linkages, et cetera. And any management plan or any government's improvement that's related to sustainable lakes is going to have to be broad enough to consider these things. I remember Mr. Yamamoto mentioned that Lake Biwa is changing. Well, why is it changing? It's probably not, it's more than just the water. There's something that's happening in the basin on one of these levels that is making it changing. And the approach that's being used is going to have to address this. We've also heard about other things. UNEP is using a nature-based, not UNEP, but they're facilitating nature-based solutions. And Professor Silva has talked about source to sea. These are all different perspectives and approaches that have to be considered within the context of managing a specific lake, its basins, and its resources. And that's going to be, I think, difficult. And probably you haven't thought much about this, but in terms of linkages, we're talking about surface water, but what about groundwater? Groundwater does get into lakes, and it's becoming increasingly important in some areas of the world, and probably even more so in the future. How are we going to address these? Because groundwater aquifer boundaries don't necessarily coincide with surface water lake basins. So that's going to be something that we have to think about. I think the Indonesian experience has been very helpful as a case study, and I hope we get more of these that we can use so that we can turn all these nice words and wishes and goals into real actions that bear some results in terms of sustainable lakes. We have starting out to in terms of linkages again, we're linking lakes to climate change impacts and nanoplastics and stuff that we would have never considered in the past. And I remember in the past, it used to be where we had arid areas, and all of a sudden lakes seem to be getting full all over the world. There's so many floods recently, probably because of lake impacts. Sorry, I'm going so fast because I want to get you guys to lunch. And I did notice very, very nicely that everyone here seems to have no problems with the establishment of a World Lake Day. And I guess the thing now is just to spread the word and try to facilitate to the extent you can the actual formation of a World Lake Day, which will be taking place, or at least discussions in the coming near future at the United Nations General Assembly. Excuse me. I have writing all over the place. I think those are some of the major things that came to my mind and integrate. And as I say, the ILEC Scientific Committee will be working with conceptualizing and the ILBM into integrated Atlantic Lower Lake Basin management to look at a broader perspective. We're calling it now sort of looking not from the top down and in to the problem, but starting with the problem, perhaps, maybe I'm simplifying it, but going up and out and letting the problem define what we're ultimately going to do as opposed to top-down instructions and perspectives. And all of this, remember, is directed to what we've been calling for many years, the continuous, incremental, and participatory improvement in lake basin governance, which is the whole point of this effort. And I don't know if I covered everything, but those are some things that struck me important.
Thank you very much. I think this is the formal part of this panel discussion. And I thank you very much for that formal part. And I'd like to invite Mr. Takahashi to make, yes, please go up to the podium and give us the sort of overall concluding or summarizing impression of this particular effort. Thank you very much for this panel from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nakamura-sensei. Maybe I will not summarize this discussion, but I would like to make some closing remarks. We are very happy today to have excellent speakers representing a wide range of stakeholders, actually central and local governments, universities, private companies, and international organizations from Indonesia, Japan, Shiga Prefecture, Mexico, Australia, UNEP, and ILEC Scientific Committee participated in this very lively discussion. We are facing three environmental crises: climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. Last year, the average global temperature reached an all-time record high, and this year, the heat wave is continuing at the pace exceeding that record. In Japan, around the world, extreme weather events and the resulting heat stroke, flooding, and other damages are becoming increasingly serious. As pointed out in the session, the lake environments face all three of these environmental crises. And we must take serious steps now to maintain and pass on to the future generations the rich lake environment that are irreplaceable for human life and well-being. In doing so, it is important to take an integrated approach. The word integrated has been used on many occasions today, but it is important to integrate various aspects such as geographical integration of the entire watershed, or integration of various broad range of stakeholders such as government, companies, citizens, academics, and NGOs, and the integration among generations, past, present, and future. What perspective would be important to effectively promote an integrated approach? I think a bottom-up approach that takes into account local needs and knowledges and builds on a strong community would be important. To this end, it will be important to have a consensus building process that does not rely solely on a few policymakers, but rather draws on a wide range of knowledges and experiences from a broad spectrum of local stakeholders, including the general public, youth, or indigenous people and others. Only then we will be able to promote real change toward the formation of a sustainable society rather than just taking short-term measures. In order to promote such efforts, it is extremely important to raise awareness among a wide range of stakeholders and about the current status of the lake environment, its challenges, and its importance for present and future generations. In this sense, the proposal for World Lake Day, as pointed out today, is of great significance. I'm very happy to hear the report from Inge-san from Indonesia about the special high-level event on the World Lake Day proposal, which was held at the recent UN General Assembly. I'd like to conclude my comments by expressing my strong hope that the initiative to realize World Lake Day will bear fruit in the near future. Finally, I'd like to thank again all the speakers who participated in today's session, and also like to thank all the audience for your active participation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Takahashi, and thank you for all the participants online and on-site. And online panelists, are you there? Could you turn your camera on? Let us take a photo. Thank you very much. Let us take a photo. Say cheese. Okay, so thank you. And with this, we conclude the morning session.